Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with a bunch of nerds today. And today we will be playing Open Legend RPG, sponsored by, well, Open Legend RPG and its creator, Seventh Sphere Publishing, I believe, is the name of the company. And and what is that? I'm writing a really important email to a colleague. Oh, that's what it is. Hey guys, hold on one second. Somebody forgot to mute the actual video. Amateurs, I tell you. So where were we? Okay, so we were being sponsored for this game by Open Legend RPG, and we actually kicked this one to our patrons and let them help us design the game we're going to be playing in. And it is Arcana Punk with fantasy and Eldritch Horror with some espionage and spy elements in as well. The today what we're going to do is we're going to be doing kind of an intro session. We're gonna get some gameplay in, and some things might go crazy, might go a little wild. Bear with us as we're all new to the system and learning the rules. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun, guys. So, what we have here is the world of Xanterra. And Xanterra is a very old world that has seen several ages, though the actual inhabitants do not know how many, because they all reside up in the clouds above the world below in floating cities. The history, the lore, the legends are that once this was a world full of magic and gods until something happened. The gods had fled and the magic had gone insane. Soon after that, something drove the people of the world from the ground into the skies above without having their magics and their gods to rely on. They've had to rely on themselves. Many races have faltered and faded from time and into history. Uh, the races that were able to better adapt and replace their magics and gods with technology are the ones that have survived. Magic still exists in the form of Aether, and it's everywhere and in everything, but it is not the force that was once wielded. It is dangerous and unpredictable. So the only safe way to harness it is through Aether Fighters, and even then, there's some risks with that. It is the Aether Fighters that were able to lift the population from the world below up into the skies, into their 13 floating cities. And the game actually takes place 50 years after a war. A war has happened in Xanterra between these floating cities, and one of those floating cities was actually decimated and destroyed in that war, which kind of brought about a bit of a peace, because 10 years ago, that city has returned. It has risen from the dead. It is now floating in the sky once again, but it is a dark place surrounded by gloom and strange happenings. And bless you. And people no longer go there. And those that have not returned, or at least not returned unscathed. There's tales of horror and unspeakable things that happen there. So with that, we are going to start, and the our brave adventurers find themselves actually on the deck of a ship, an airship right now, known as the Morning Hawk. And it is hurtling away from that city. There is lightning dancing about the ship, green, purple, and many of the inhabitants of the ship are looking over their shoulder, wondering if they're going to make it out of this alive, if they're going to make it back from where they set out. Their mission was to come in, explore the city, do some reconnaissance, and get out. They have not made it very far into the city. They've already suffered casualties. And right now, you're all thinking back to a diminutive figure that stood before 18 individuals. Yes. The words Morning Hawk is emblazoned on the side of the ship, and is written in a gnomish script. And morning, they write it the same way. So whether it's morning is in dawn or morning is in loss. But you guys find yourselves thinking back to when you're standing before a diminutive figure, Commodore Geraldine Flinsenhauser, a gnome that probably stands, if you're human, probably comes up to about your belly button, but his hat makes it to about the top of your chest. And you're in a war room as he paces back and forth every once in a while with a riding crop, slapping it down on the table on a different spot, pointing out different positions. You guys are all in the headquarters of the Ethernati. You've been drawn from different cities to this location. You've been selected or volunteered from the organization, the Ethernati, from your home city. Now, this is what you're doing, what you're involved in right now is unprecedented. Never before have the cities worked together like this, even in an organization like the Ethernati. The purpose of the Ethernati is to root out evils and right the wrongs of the world. The only problem is they are never able to agree on how this should be done. So they all end up working in smaller cells and not working together. It wasn't until the return of this fallen city, the city of Haven, that has returned, and what they agree upon, whatever is going on out there, they need to discover it. They need to find out, fix this. Because several other things happened with the vanishing of Haven. When Haven was lost, psychics began to appear in the world, never before seen. And over the past 10 years, their powers have grown stronger. There's also rumors that there's these strange cults appearing within the cities that follow and worship dark gods in a world where gods have not been seen since time immemorial. So with all that being said, finally, these different conclaves have come together to form a council in order to address the problem with unity. And that's why you are all working together. Whether you're charged with putting aside your personal differences, any prejudices you might have. There is the 5 of you, and there are also another 13. Well, I'm sorry, not 13. Another 8 individuals in this room who will be leaving with you. With that, we're going to flash back to on the ship, what's going on right now. Things moving in the darkness, in the inky blackness. Megan, you are stationed next to and with basically your mentor, who's been guiding you through becoming an Ethermancer and training you in your powers, and not only how to wield them, but to survive them.
Okay.
And is a fellow elf, Sephine Zandarith. And right now, he is in the process of fending off attacks, as you all are. There are, from the shadows around the ship, black inky tentacles keep shooting forth and trying to ensnare the vessel. There's crewmen running back and forth upon the deck, trying to slash and cut them free. Your crew, your numbers have already dwindled. Accompanying and Doug's character were 2 twins, dwarves, extremely rare, and they were also psychics, the Bright Tower twins. Right now, they're below deck, kind of in a catatonic state. One of them saw something, it totally destroyed her mind. Dwalene and Cordelia responded in kind, has been in a catatonic state since as well. They're completely useless to you guys right now. There were 3 known brothers, the Gaffin Clappers, Spencer, and Spuncer. They never made it out of the city. But it's worse than that. you'll find later their names, but right now you can't even recall the gnomes that were with you. You watch them in horror vanish from sight. You can't even bring their faces or their names to bear. Only the fact that there's written down somewheres will they continue to exist. With that, one of those black tentacles kind of lances out and smacks the elven female in the chest, slamming you up against the rail, losing breath. You lose your breath. Megan, will you just please describe your character to us?
Okay. She is kind of willowy in build, long white hair, glasses. She's got these black ink-like markings along her skin that are probably a byproduct of the Aether. Like, you might have noticed that when she casts, they get a little bit more prominent.
Are you still there? Did you freeze?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And tell us what your character's name is, please?
Dr. Lucilia Heliotrope, but I know that's a mouthful, so just call her Lucy.
Dr. Lucy in the house. All right. So at the same time, the ship is suffering damages all over the place, and the first mate, Sir Humphrey Smith, is bellowing orders to the crew, telling them to cut away the tentacles, fix this, and by the blazes, where is my other strep monkey? Where's the strep monkey at? And he starts looking around, and then his gaze fixes upon your character, Ted. Can you give us a description?
Sorry, I was had my microphone muted. So absolutely, this little kobold, I believe we settled on that kobolds had scaly skin but could still have beards. So standing at a whopping 2'9" and all scrawny is Bunny, denoted by the fact that he is wearing a tattered and probably stained set of floppy bunny ears. He's wearing a set of like ragtag armor. It's probably coupled together with a variety of fabrics and things sewn into it. He is wearing a very outdated set of ether ball boot clippings. He has a backpack on that is linked to, like, via cable, some kind of sidearm. You're not certain because, again, the parts look ramshackled between different models, different makers. Even anyone who has any kind of skill with firearms would probably say that it doesn't work. And he's probably cowering away from any of these black tendrils. And so when this is the first mate that's calling.
Yes.
When he shouts, where is he? Where is he? He'll step up. Yeah, yes, good sir. Yes, good sir. I'm here. What can I do?
Get on the struts. Make sure the struts aren't damaged.
So
if we lose those struts, we're going down.
So he scurries around, and despite the wind and the tentacles, he seems very, very sure-footed, despite whatever he needs to climb and move through. And he gets there and begins, checking and double-checking each of the different struts.
Okay, so the ship is very long and lean, and the struts are actually they almost look like giant skis. But they're connected to the struts are actually connected to pylons or pillars that form a ring around the ship, and the struts kind of spin around it as the ship flies through the air, collecting ether. There is actually 4 struts at the aft and 3 at the fore, 7. Which is nearly unheard of for a vessel, especially of this size, making it one of its faster ones. But also, this vessel has a skirt that hangs down below the bottom of it, the cage, which this is something that no other airship has. It It is basically turbines. There's two of them, one at the aft and one at the fore beneath. And they don't actually help with propulsion. What they do is they act as generators, gathering ether and powering the ship. So the ship actually generates its own electricity, which is very uncommon for airships. It's the same design that is being used to power and keep the cities flying. So it is extremely advanced and powerful technology. But this mission was considered powerful or important enough that they're putting all their eggs in the basket. Bill, you know that that Bunny is your companion is a bit on the skittish side and abhors danger of any kind. You're actually the one that kind of rescued him from captivity. He was actually being bullied and was being kept as a slave, and you actually were the one to encounter him. And you being extremely tough, especially for a kobold, and recognizing his talent, have freed him from his shackles. And you guys have been companions ever since. And it's probably how Bunny came to the attentions of your superiors, because you were able to recognize his skill. You want to describe your character for us?
Yes, Krizik. I've got a typical Cobalt name, so Krizik per Snitzelplop, but Krizik sounds cooler by itself. And I'm wearing full military fatigues, and yeah, I talk with a slightly gruff voice. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I carry what do you call a sword that would probably be considered a machete to anybody else, but it's pretty big Final Fantasy size for me.
Excellent. So your skills and your machete are very much in demand today as you run about the deck, chopping away these black tentacles. Every once in a while, you'll get close to the rail and you see something just beneath the cloud surface. In the gloom, a crackle of lightning will go by, and you'll see an enormous shape just kind of like slither just beneath. You also feel like you were let into the city, that this attack could have happened, that you're experiencing right now at any time, but you were allowed to into the city for an ambush. With that, Ty, your character is actually been given the command, and you're working directly with Captain Varkinen. She is the captain of this vessel, and right now she is at the helm, doing everything she can to get every ounce of speed out of the Morning Hawk. And every once in a while, she'll call out to you to pull that cannon off your hip and let loose.
Which I will gladly do.
And would you describe your character for us?
Human male, about 6'1", very pale, has a large black broad-brimmed hat, kind of like this, but probably bigger. A black cloak, white shirt underneath, several weapons belts, including a baldric going across the chest. From the left side hangs a saber, and in the cross-draw holster and is a big double-barreled pistol. He wears tall boots that go up to his knees. Anyone who knows fencing or knows boots his boots look like riding boots at first glance, but if you really pay attention to the soles, they're obviously not really for riding. They're for fancy footwork. And he will gladly draw sword and pistol to cut away at the tentacles or shoot into the mass below.
Okay, so that's going on, and that brings us to, last but not least, the uber athletic dwarven lady. Would you let us know what you're doing and describe your character and the name?
All right, Raz Raketa is a female dwarf. She's about 4'8", tall and wide, just super muscled. She's wearing like a chainmail hauberk. She's got like dark brown skin and like pink punk rock hair, and she wears kind of like an old, tattered military uniform. And one notable feature is her right arm is mechanical. It's kind of like a clockwork arm, so it's kind of like, always ratcheting up. She's got a baseball bat, big knife stuck in her belt next to like a flintlock pistol, and she would just be kind of rallying the other people under the direction of the first mate. And just if a tentacle comes up, she's just going to run over with her bat, smash it, try to get it off, and help as many people as she can.
So did you say your name, Ty, and I missed it, or did we not get that?
I did not say it. I can give it to those who are watching. The character's name is Israel Amadeus. But unless another player character comes up and asks, he's not freely giving it out.
Well, at this point, you guys have been traveling together for weeks.
Then they can call me Commander.
That's the important part to me.
Okay, so, and like I said, you guys actually have traveled weeks to get into the gloom and into the city before all hell broke loose. So you've all gotten to know each other as much as you want to reveal about each other, or as friendly as you want to be towards each other. So at this point, we're actually going to use some of the mechanics here and delve into the game a little bit. So I'm going to just start with Ted. Tell me an action that you're performing, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Absolutely. Is there anything that actually needs to be done to whatever struts that I'm near?
Yeah, there is actually cracks forming in the one that had a tentacle wrapped around it, but was either shot away or cut away.
All right. Well, I have my my handy dandy multi-tool, which looks useless to most engineers, but I've ether-fliced it into being able to, fix the things that I need to fix. So would I be able to, alter the strut into being fixed?
Yes. You probably carry various gadgets on you, and right now you're gonna probably reach into one. I'm just imagine your character having pouches and tools and stuff like that all over him. So he probably pulls out 2 different tubes of different reagents, and that he can apply almost like an epoxy for a quick fix. It's his version of duct tape.
So would this be logic, or would this actually, fall under the alteration?
You can use logic.
All right, that's a much better roll. Wow, so that is a 12.
Okay. Do you have any maximum dice?
No dice exploded.
Okay, so you're able to put a quick band-aid on it, and it is holding for the moment, but even you feel a little sketchy about it.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah. So, and guys, slowed us down a little bit is we got in the hangout and realized it's official. Dice Stream is gone, so we had to use real dice. So, all right, I'm going to go right down left to right as I see you guys. Doug.
You're muted.
Just realized that. Okay, so she's going to be primarily trying to bash at tentacles, but I would like to use bolster to help Israel with his agility. So kind of like rally him and just like skin that smoke wagon and commander, and get these tentacles off the ship, and that will give him advantage 1 on his whatever agility, I guess, if he's going to shoot his pistol.
Okay. Excellent. All right, Megan, what are you doing?
Okay, I am going to use, I believe it is a bonus action to enter a battle trance, first and foremost. And then I want to throw up a barrier. That involves multi-targeting. A cube that's a single 5 foot does not incur disadvantage, but I want to go to 10 feet, which suffers disadvantage too, but I'm not sure what to roll to do a casted barrier. would that just be an entropy roll, do you think? Because it's an entropic barrier. I want it to be damaging or hindering,
yes.
not damaging.
Yeah, whatever power you're enacting it with, you would use that stat to do it, and with disadvantage, you would just roll the appropriate dice, but double sets.
Okay.
And take the worst.
Okay, so that was 9 twice on the D20, and then I have entropy 3, so I get a D8. That's that fell off. 2. 11.
Okay, so 11. You put up your damage. You put up a damaging barrier, and tentacles are slamming against it and ignoring it, pretty much. And I believe it is actually going to shatter.
Oh, good.
Apart.
So can any players making an action roll above a 10 on a D20?
No. So and so real quick for clarification for you guys watching. So the bonus action would actually be minor actions. We have minor actions in Open Legend, and you would actually have rolled the disadvantage on your attribute dice. But it's all right. Like I said, we're all learning. We'll figure it out as we go. You're up, Ty.
Okay, this big giant mass that's below us in the clouds, how far down is it?
Well, it's probably good like 20, 30 feet.
Oh, I jump.
Okay. You know there's
I jump. Sword down.
In the sky. Okay.
Go get him, Commander.
It's big.
Oh, it is big.
But it's probably not solid. And we're in the sky.
Well, we're going to find out about that part. So I will actually give you a legend point for that, which you may expend that now for advantage, or hold on to it for another time.
I'll save it since I've already got advantage thanks to Doug.
Okay.
As I go over the side, I'll kind of flip him a thumbs up.
Well, you can have advantage more than once.
Oh, I know, but I'm just going to save the legend point for now. So do I need to make an agility roll or?
Oh, you're jumping on it? No. You just make your attack roll.
Okay.
It's big enough.
With my sword. Okay, so on an attack, I roll a d20 plus my agility dice. Is that correct?
Whether you're using might or
agility.
agility.
I'm using agility.
And you get advantage on that?
Yeah, so 7. Okay, I got a 27. A nat 20, by the way, if that matters for anything.
It absolutely matters.
So you would roll that 20 again and add that.
Okay. Oh, that time I got a 1. 28!
So we have had our first explosion. Absolutely. And now because you beat the number by at least 10, you can actually invoke a Bane for free.
I'm not sure how this one's going to work, but I'll invoke Knockdown.
Knockdown?
Yes.
Okay. So
it's agility versus guard.
I have this handy dandy list of Banes that Ted printed out for me. All right. So, but you said it's agility versus guard? Okay. So I suppose make your agility check.
25.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, if I can keep rolling 19s and 20s, I'll like this game.
Well, that's definitely one way of going about it. All right. Are you kidding me? It doesn't list that. All right, so I will now.
I figure this thing's like Cthulhu and probably has a guard of like 500 or something. But
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for you, I do believe. I already had a D20.
But it probably knows I'm here.
Yeah, I would say it definitely knows you're here. Oh, wow, that was pretty horrible. But that is still in the 30s.
Okay.
So it is going to shake that off. So when you hit it, it's basically feels like you've landed on a it has like the texture and the feel of a stability ball. If you're familiar with that, with an exercise ball, stability ball.
Yeah.
So it's like rubbery and bouncy at the same time, or a hippity hop, if you prefer, from maybe from your childhood. So it is very difficult to maintain your footing on it as well. One of the few things that is kind of helping you out is the fact that you just planted your sword into it, and you hear a scream. All of you hear the scream from you plunging your blade into this creature. And you do not hear it with your ears, but with your minds.
Well, I'm going to leave the sword there and hold on to it.
Okay. And it's actually a little bit worse for Krizik, because you're psychically attuned and you kind of have an idea what is going on with that. Which that brings us to Krizik. What are you doing?
First, unmuting myself. Second, seeing what I can do psychically. Let's see. Not sure what all of this stuff is just yet, so rather than killing the whole game like that, jeez. I don't know. I'm thinking that right now, just to keep the game moving along, I'm going to hack at anything close to... sorry, Ted, yours is the only character I didn't get the name for. Was it?
Bunny.
It was Bunny, son of a gun. Okay. The ears helped. So that should be a capital B. Okay, so yeah, if there's any tentacles near him or whatever, I'm going to try and hack at one, and yeah.
You're getting suggestions from the chat. Ego whip. Pick a power based on the rule of cool.
I turned off the chat. Ego whip? I've got ego whip.
Well, essentially, the way the powers in Open Legend work is you kind of explain how it works. Like, so there's not like, it's not a set thing.
Okay. Well, if I can do something called an ego whip, that sounds egotistically simple. Yeah.
So essentially, what that might be is you basically extending your will, and creating a bit of a psychic construct. And what is your do you have energy power, or what are your powers?
All I was supposed to have was telekinesis, but apparently I have. You want actions presence? Or boons? Which one do you want?
No. Do you have presence?
Presence. Where would I find that?
Under your extraordinary abilities. Second to the last one. That's the one. That to me seems the most psychic of the.
Oh, under extraordinary. Okay, I've influence, movement, and prescience.
So I would think it would be prescience would be.
Yeah, prescience is kind of like your ability to perceive. Movement is movement, influence. So all right, so yeah, it would be like energy or something like that. Let me just see. So yeah, so you probably don't have anything like that. You basically prescience would be like enhancing your awareness, your senses, that kind of
See
thing.
the future, read minds or auras, detect magic, evil, scry, communicate with extraplanar entities.
You want to communicate with
Could
it?
I maybe have a conversation with it?
Oh yeah, you could absolutely
Parlay.
try that.
I'm on a ship. Can I parlay? Okay. Tell me what to do there, Chief.
For that, you're just going to open up your mind to its mind. And I'm actually not going to require a roll for that.
I love how you said that. Do I have to do this and touch its temple?
Not in this case, I don't think.
Okay.
Beast,
what are you? What is your purpose here? Actually, I don't use pronouns. What you purpose here?
Okay, so when you do that, you see you just see a row of 10 eyes, gleaming yellow in your mind.
For everybody in the chat, I want you to know David Furriant just asked me, the DM, Bill, do you have a backup character? So I guess I see where I'm going with this.
That was not Dave. That was me.
David Furriant in the chat, Ted.
Yeah. Because that's because he hacks my account all the time.
We're both signed in the Nerdarchy.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
So in your mind, you hear a reply back. You see that you see 10. You see 2 rows of vertical eyes, 10 in all. They're kind of like blazing with an eerie yellow incandescent light coming from them, and you just feel the malice as well as you can contact this thing's mind. It feels like you've just been covered in something oily, slick, and sticky all at the same time.
That's how kobolds take a bath.
Yeah. How dare you address me, you insect, you insignificant sack of meat. I'm going to devour your soul.
Insult? Everyone say this about me, Krizik.
And with that, it just screams in your mind. And what is your resolve?
Depends. Where do I find that?
Under your defenses.
Defenses. Okay.
Middle of the character sheet.
Where's my defenses?
Middle of the character sheet.
Middle of the character sheet. Resolve right here. Okay, 13.
Yeah. Okay. Give me a minute. This is going to take some calculating.
Sure.
He's got to whip out the abacus.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, he's got some exploding dice. Sounds like
electrical engineering books that have abacus things in there because we didn't start using calculators until recently, apparently.
So, you just took 47 points of damage as it shrieks in your mind. And you literally, your body, you begin to stagger back against the rail. Blood begins to ooze out of your ears and your nose. You fall to the deck convulsing, and you're just trying to crawl away. You're pretty much helpless at this point, and laying there drooling upon yourself.
So
once
Ted
you
was
finally
right.
stop moving.
So what happens when you go over hit points in this game?
You don't have to worry about that
double.
right now.
Well, Bill does.
I'll get back to you.
It's a narrative-based game. So you right now your mind is in fragments and you are reeling. Had that been a physical blow, yes, you probably would have been ripped right in half. With that, the other elf, Safine, sees your plight and comes running over to you, looking at you, and starts wiping away the blood, and calls up, "Apprentice, come here." Does Lucy have any healing capabilities?
Yes, I have a medical kit, but it's a physical medical kit. I'm not that kind of doctor.
Okay.
Like it's first aid stuff.
Okay, so basically he calls on you to use your first aid stuff as he puts a finger to Krizik's temple, and the drool stops and you stop convulsing. Attend him quickly.
Yes, I've got
And
heal. I believe 2d6. That's going off of learning.
okay. So while that's going on, a rope comes flying over the side of the rail, and you hear a strong woman's voice call out, "You stupid moron! You you barnacle licker! What are you thinking?" And the rope comes flying by Israel's head, and the crew is beseeching you to grab it. But in the meantime, Safine places a hand gently on. Oh, nice. That's actually kind of what happened to Bill in the first place. But I had like 5 explosions on Bill. The only thing that saved him was I rolled a 2 on the D20. The elf Safine places his hand on Dr. Lucy's shoulder and kind of leans down while you're working and whispers to you, "I'm sorry. Please tell Thomas I love him, but something has to be done." And
oh my god.
with the grace of a gazelle, he leaps up to the rail, jumps to one of the ether struts, and leaps into the air. As he's doing it, the only one that could probably see this is Dr. Lucy. You can see the ether gathering and swirling around him, but it's not right. It's darker than it normally is. It doesn't. It always appears crazy, but it actually appears angry. And you just see him as he runs into the air, runs basically into the air, gathering up ether, more ether than anyone should ever even begin to conceivably try and wield at once. You see balls of energy forming around each of his hands as he stretches them out. He's standing stock still, straight, ramrod straight in the air, toes pointed down like a dancer, head back, looking straight up. His body actually begins to rotate in a 360, and beams of energy just begin to lance out from his hands, cutting everything around the ship away. And then he brings his hands forward in front of him as he faces the prow of the ship, and those balls of energy coalesce and shoot a giant circular beam of energy, freaking our Star Blazers size and style, in front of the ship. And you hear him scream one last time as he begins to fall back and away from the ship. And the first mate calls out, "Captain, there's a hole!" And with that, she punches it, and the other ship blasts through the hole. You hear the shrieks of whatever was beyond.
Did the commander have a chance to grab the rope?
Yeah, that's what I said. He could grab the rope. He can try and grab the rope. That's up to him. If he chooses to stay with the thing, that is completely up to him. But the captain had said to grab the rope.
Okay, I guess I'll start rolling up another character because he's going to stay with the thing.
Oh! So we had our first casualty. In what are we, like, not even an hour in?
He basically
you did
was
say
gonna,
I was a part-time player.
he basically was going to keep down and twisting it into this thing.
Can I grab the rope and try to swing down and just forcibly grab him?
Yeah, you could do. I would allow that. There's actually an action called interrupt actions, and one of them is to basically help another player.
I'd like to do that. He's my commander. I can't leave another person behind. A dwarf.
So make an agility roll.
I got an explosion. 19.
Oh, that'll do it. Absolutely. So you whisk down and grab him around the waist. even if you didn't want to not have him, the ship pulls so hard, your sword comes free as well as you both are probably going to suffer some minor whiplash. As a as you're basically just holding on for dear life.
As we're being pulled away, I'm going to take out my other hand. He's holding me.
Yeah.
My other hand, I'm drawing my pistol and just firing at this thing.
Okay, get it.
I only have 2 shots.
Are you going to open both barrels?
Sure. Will it hit, or does it even matter if I hit it? Would it do anything?
You don't know.
Okay, well, the first barrel's only a 5, so that'll miss. The other one's only a 12.
Yeah, your shots disappear into the cloud cover.
And I'm gonna
Okay.
I'm gonna mutter under my breath, I'm not gonna lose another soldier. As we're flying through the air, trailing behind the ship. Hopefully they're pulling us up.
The last thing, only the 2 of you may see is 2 rows of 5 yellowish lights kind of reflecting off the cloud cover just beneath it as something enormous moves and writhes. And with that, you guys launch yourselves out of the gloom, and the tentacles that kind of like shoot forward anime style after the ship, but as soon as they hit that edge of the gloom, it's like they hit a wall and they can't go any further. And you guys, the ship has some minor damages. You've lost a few. There's a few crewmen that have been lost. The Gnomish brothers are no more. Safine is somewhere's back there. You actually, the rest of you probably wouldn't be particularly sure, but Dr. Lucy, you think he probably burned himself out, drawing in and expending that much ether. And obviously Thomas is his lover, and he's he beseeched you with his basically on his with his last breath to reach out to Thomas and tell him how he felt.
Can I check on Krizik and see how he's doing? I imagine I probably might have seen him reel back.
Yes, you check on him, and he's in a bad way, but he actually is better than the Bright Tower sisters. He seems to be coming through.
Israel will make a point to go to Doug's character and put out a hand and say, "Thank you, dwarf, for saving me."
You get that, Doug? Hello? I think Doug might be frozen. So anyway, so that happens. Either that or he didn't care about your your thanks. One or the other. I was actually expecting your character to walk up to him and pull the gun, but
oh, well, it's empty.
How dare you? So with that, you receive a monster-sized dressing down from Captain Varkin for your foolishness and your stupidity.
I'll just sit there and stare at her and take the whole thing in silence. And then when she's done, I will say, "Boldness wins the day," snap my heels, and turn and stomp away.
He's like, "Ugh, that man is infuriating. He may have led this expedition, but on this ship, my word is law. Next time I'll have him keel-hauled."
Been around. I wasn't on your ship.
So I continue, from the moment that we actually slow down to a regular pace, I will continue going about making sure the ship's in as best of condition as possible, and I'll only stop if actually told to do so, or until it's done.
Okay, so you probably spend a good portion of the rest of the day just working on the ship, putting things back together, doing Bunny's version of fixing things, which involves a lot of duct tape. But it's going to be you guys are going to be several weeks in traveling back to the city of Grundlehelm, which is where you guys had set out from. And Grundlehelm is kind of the Switzerland of these cities. It is always tried to maintain neutrality and is probably one of the least hostile of the 13. And they're known for the Grundle Grinders, the Griffins, and the Gremlins are their pro teams. And the Gremlins consist completely of gnomes and kobolds only. So with that, you guys, you're able to limp your way back to Grundlehelm, and repairs are made and underway. The Right Tower sisters, even though you tend to them, they don't seem to come out of their stupor. Krizik, on the other hand, makes a full recovery. And maybe it's the difference between the way dwarves and kobolds are wired. Maybe it's the fact that they are psychic. They are both psychic and twins. So maybe there's some kind of weird resonance that happened, or maybe they just encountered something much worse. So when you guys arrive back at the city, what do you want to do?
Well, storyline purposes, and for the sake of in the chat, once I finally come back to regular again, I'm able to reboost my psychic abilities so that I can make myself walk again. Because if the chat doesn't know, Krizik is actually paraplegic. He was shot in the spine in war and is incapable of walking, so he typically uses telekinesis in order to make it appear as though he can walk normally. So yeah, just that storyline.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is why they because you kind of outsourced your character over to the Open Legend form, and that's why they gave you the movement power, I believe, so that's what you kind of use in order to get around.
So do we have like, this isn't something for little character like me, but do we have a direct report? Do we have people that we need to update on our mission status and all of that?
Yeah, you guys are working directly under Commodore Geraldine Flinsenhauer. Doug is currently trying to get back in, but for some reason won't let him. I'm going to give him a new link and see if it makes a difference. But that is who you're working from. And the other thing to remember too, the Nerdarchy is not officially an organization that belongs to any government per se. They kind of do their own thing.
So if there's nothing for me to do on the ship, or if there's nothing for me to do on the mission, I'm going to try to look as unobtrusive as possible.
Okay.
Clean something.
All right. So basically the debriefing is going to be fairly brief because you actually sailed right into what used to be Haven, right into the gloom with no issues whatsoever. It basically within landing at one of the makeshift ports. Within 3 blocks or so, you're beset by creatures. And that's when you lost the dwarves and the gnomes. And again, like I said before, the gnomes, whatever affected them, you guys actually seen that where they were attacked by a different tentacle monstrosity. It looked like a creature made of smoke. smoke and red burning eyes with little bolts of electricity flowing all around it. It had actually touched each of them, and they just like faded from sight. And as soon as that happened, you knew you had another group of people with you, but you couldn't remember their names or their faces. It wasn't until later on, either by looking at the captain's log or someone's journal, that you found written record that they even existed.
All right, so we actually, prior to today, we had traveled to Haven, and we were on our return journey back to Granglehold, you said, or Grundlehold?
Right, yeah. So essentially, you guys fled.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, we were at the city, and then we left.
Yes.
Better part of valor. Got it.
Yeah, things went south really quick, really rapidly, and you guys decided to get out of Dodge, and that's when all hell broke loose.
So,
and you all basically felt this malevolent presence from the city itself.
So do we feel like this, cloud thing that attacked us, did it follow us? Do we think, or did it, or was that, part of that, or was it encountered on the journey, on the way back?
That you're not really sure, because once everything started happening, it started happening fast. It was almost like these creatures started swarming out of the buildings and from all over the place once you guys kind of started getting into the city. And you would have been distracted as running and fighting your way out. Then once then the things started kind of like chasing the ship through the cloud cover. So you don't know if it was in the city first. You don't know if it had actually been out there waiting. So there's no way of really being able to tell.
So what's anybody else doing?
I need to go find Thomas.
So he will not. He is actually staying in the city. He came in with the two of you, and he is at one of the nicer hotels. You guys are actually, you held positions of kind of prestige in the Elven City. The Elven City of, what's the name of that again, Megan?
Felcrest.
Felcrest, yes.
So I pace in front of the door for a good 10 or 20 minutes before I finally knock on it, because my character has the socially awkward flaw and has no idea how to break news like this. This is completely outside her realm of things that she knows how to deal with.
Okay, so after you do that for a little while, the door just opens.
Oh. I just stare at him for a second, and then I say I am so sorry. And
before you even get the words out, he just like crumples to the ground like a folding chair and begins to weep.
I'm gonna hug him. He said to tell you that he loves you.
I told him not to go. I told him to turn this one down.
He's the only reason we're alive.
That sounds like him. So after basically having a breakdown for like 5-10 minutes of like sobbing uncontrollably, his slender shoulders, bobbing up and down, his long, long black raven black hair, falls on his face, and he finally looks up with red puffy eyes, and seems to like recover his composure, and his face kind of goes like blank, and he's like, "I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing me the news. I appreciate it. Your duty is fulfilled."
I'm going to give you your space to mourn, but if you need anything, you know where I'll be.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. And he kind of just goes to one of the there's like a meditation alcove set up, and he goes over there and begins to just kind of meditate and try and deal with his grief.
Gonna give him some space.
So with that, what are the rest of you going to do?
Israel will hunt for either a temple or a church of some kind, explain who he is and why he is here, and he's not necessarily expecting it from them, but he's looking for accommodations while he is here in the city. And
Okay,
maybe
you'll be able to find a church that the church that you belong to. They are in pretty much all of the cities, so they'll be able to accommodate you. Your station actually grants you some leeway there as well. And when you guys get back, and like the final tally is 2 of the actual crewmen that were just where the rest of you guys are basically soldiers or brought in as specialists. They were literally just the crew to the ship. 2 of them didn't make it out. Francis and Darlene both were drug overboard during the encounter. The twins are going to be sent back to the Dwarven Stone Home, where they're going to be tended to, and they'll see if anything can be done. Arrangements are being made. And as far as the brothers Spencer, and Spencer, they completely get forgotten about every time until someone actually sees something written about them, even from people that weren't there. It's almost as if they never existed.
I'd imagine Raz would probably find the nearest bar and, kind of steady her nerves, because that was a little reminiscent of her own past, and have a drink to the fallen people and hope that the Bright Tower twins are okay.
And so also with that, the Commodore informs you that your duties are not finished, and that we do not know what the next move is, but we feel as though things have just escalated again. And then also the whole fact of when he's going over the notes and the journals, and the thing that bothers him the most is the Gaffin clappers, the fact that no one can remember who they were, and it's as if they never existed. This is the thing that concerns him the most, and the biggest problem with it concerns him, and then he keeps forgetting about it.
what race were they again?
They were gnomes. The gnome love. I'm feeling the gnome love.
Well, Ty's character doesn't care about anybody if they're not human.
That's not true. He did, show gratitude towards the dwarf for pulling him out.
And then made him disappear for like 10 minutes. So think about it.
I know. I think he made part of my memory disappear because I'm just trying to play catch up here.
Yeah.
Well, my character did make a point of looking you up on the ship and thanking your hand and saying, "Thank you, dwarf, for saving me."
You thanked his hand?
Yes.
I shook his hand and thanked him for saving me. Said, "Thank you, dwarf." Not overly cordial or warm, but he did it.
And
That's okay, comrade.
That is the important thing. He did it.
I would like to dedicate a couple of pages in my field journal to the phenomena of someone being erased from existence, during one of those moments where it actually comes up. It might be inappropriate, but I'm going to make some notes.
Okay. Which also, basically, Commodore Geraldine ends up doing something similar and throughout his reports, so that it keeps coming up. So it is to make sure that everyone is aware that this is something that's going on, and is fine. They're definitely finding this to be very some if things and people can be erased out of existence. Matter of fact, one of the discussions that comes up is, well, what happens if this starts happening to people that are really important?
So my character, is incredibly logical, and he's finding this whole bit with the gnomes a bit of a logical fallacy, because it's only when someone is coming across it via like written word that it's actually recalled into any kind of memory, and only for like that moment. Correct? It's not
Yeah.
like it's not like we re-remember and say, okay, yeah, I know about them and can recall that later. Correct?
No, for like briefly, when you're reintroduced to them, you do like you can see them, you can picture them, but within 30 seconds or so, it's just gone.
So I'm gonna I'm gonna see if I could just like start like if my memory is 30 seconds, I'm gonna, if I've got nothing else to do, because I'm certainly not gonna waste someone's time with doing reports and that kind of stuff. So if I've got nothing to do, I want to just try to experiment with that, see if I can push that out to even if it's a couple seconds longer. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna try and like recite a poem or something that has a duration, and then try to see if I can figure out what's going on, or if I can undo that kind of effect. I know it might just be in a futile experiment, but that his the way his brain works is this phenomena is not making sense.
So in other news, as you guys are kind of like in the city and things are coming up, if nothing is a sign of the end times, then there is this. The Beasts are on a 3-game winning streak for Etherball. They've been considered the worst team in the league up until this point, and they have beaten Vanguard, which is the state-sponsored team from the Dwarves Stonehome. They have taken on and beaten the Griffins from here in Grundlehelm, and they've also beaten the Hatters.
And those are top tier teams, right?
They're all professional teams. It actually doesn't matter because the Beasts are actually the worst in the league. I don't know. They may have never even won a game before. So yeah, Doug, they beat your Indians. So that is kind of going on, and like there is some revelry going on for that. There's definitely the underbelly of the city seems to be in an uproar because the underdog has actually won, and apparently there's quite a few people that made a ton of money from gambling and betting on the Beast because the odds are so terrible. It really didn't take much to win some decent earnings, and even after they won the first game, no one believed they would do it again. So there's actually several individuals from the home city that they just always bet on the home team anyway, that made a small fortune and will be moving on up.
So either the beasts are being enhanced somehow, or some people are being paid to take a fall.
Oh, and by the way, guys, the write-up on many of the cities is actually up in nerdarchy.com, so you guys can check that out whenever you get a chance. And I think we're going to wrap up right here with you guys kind of like trying to figure out what's going on and what the next move is. And you've been kind of handed your first big loss. And it appears that there might be much more going on in the gloom than was at first suspected. So everybody who's been watching us, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Until next time, stay nerdy. And before we go, thanks again to Open Legend for sponsoring the game. There is a link to the Open Legend game in the description below, and also you can play the game for free. Check it out.